What was your rationale with the release of Dan Bailey?
Certainly a very difficult decision for us. Obviously, Dan's been as good a player as we've had around here over the last 7 or 8 years, and he's one of the elite kickers in the game and has been throughout his career. Has made a ton of big kicks for us. It was not an easy decision for us to make. Obviously, a lot of factors go into this kind of a decision, and it was one that we talked about a lot. And there's a business side to the game as well. That's certainly a factor in making a decision like this. But really, honestly, there's a business side to making a lot of decisions we make in the era of the salary cap. You have to allocate dollars to certain guys, and you have to decide where you can maybe save some money and save some salary cap space. So I can't say enough about Dan Bailey as a person, as a kicker, what he's done for this organization, the number of pressure kicks he made for us. And he and I had a good visit the other day, talked the whole thing through. We wish him nothing but the best going forward. But he's been a great player for us and will continue to be a great player in this league.
This was more of a financial decision than a decision of declining performance or anything?
Again, there's a lot of factors that go into all these decisions. You're evaluating the player's performance, and you're also evaluating, how you're putting the entire roster together. And, there are a lot of different factors that went into this. It was not an easy decision for us, and he's obviously someone we think a great deal of and wish him nothing but the best going forward.
What were the on-field factors that led to this? I mean, he had one kick in the preseason games. If there was a competition between these guys, why wasn't he allowed to kick?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing you would look at is, he's had some injuries over the last couple of years, had a back 2 years ago, had the groin last year. Obviously didn't kick his best down the stretch last year. A lot of different reasons for that. But again, when we put the whole thing together and decided what was the best for our football team, this was a decision we felt like we had to make, and it was a hard decision. There's no question about that, and we went back and forth on it. We discussed it a great deal. One of the things that gave us confidence is how well Brett Maher has kicked, both in practice and in games, and we feel like he has an opportunity to help our football team in that role.
Had you noticed an erosion in his performance, like you say, with the back in 2016 and then the groin last year? Did you notice an erosion in his performance level?
Yeah, I don't really want to get into that part of it. Clearly, coming back from the groin last year, he wasn't quite himself. Been such an accurate kicker for us, and down the stretch, he can kick the ball as well as he had throughout his career. And again, there's a lot of factors that go into that. I do think he was healthy, and that was behind him. But this was not an easy decision. Dan's been a great player for us. Not a good player, a great player at a very critical position. But it's a decision we felt.
Hello, friends. Welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by FanDuel. I am your host, Tom Downey. You just heard there from Jason Garrett about why the Cowboys cut Dan Bailey. We'll get more into that here in just a little bit, and then we'll forget about it until Brett Maher makes his first kick, and then everyone will all be upset, and I think rightfully so. We're going to start things off with some more Cowboys news. There were some roster additions by the Dallas Cowboys. One on defense, 2 on offense. Ibrahim Campbell comes in. He will now help out the safety depth. Adam Redmond comes in after being cut by the Buffalo Bills. He will serve as, think of him as your Marcus Martin replacement, your backup center, backup guard, who's still going to be behind Joe Looney. And then Deontay Thompson, who was cut, is now back on the Cowboys roster. The Cowboys cut him so that they could put Noah Brown on IR and give him a chance to come back later in the year. So those are the players the Cowboys added. There are some losses / IR moves. Brian Price was cut. We'll talk more about him later on in the show and what exactly happened there. Kadeem Edwards was cut as well to make room for Adam Redmond. And then Noah Brown was placed on IR. Because of the timing, he will have a chance to come back and join the Cowboys' active roster later on in the season if that's what the Cowboys wish to do. Folks, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel, and they have an exclusive offer just for you. Go to FanDuel.com/chatsports. Use the promo code chatsports when you sign up, and you'll get $20 free with your first deposit of that minimum $5. And then stay tuned for later on in the show, and we'll let you know how you can win $50 in a free game that I'm hosting on FanDuel. Over now to the Cowboys' official practice squad. Actually just finished up really minutes ago before we started here. So, as you guys know, I think you guys know, Darius Jackson was actually initially added to the roster at halfback, but the Packers scooped him off the Cowboys practice squad. So, as a result, the Cowboys added Bo Scarbrough. So, those of you that wanted Bo, wasn't on the initial practice squad, now made his way on it, as did, believe it or not, Jordan Shun. Bit of a surprise to me. No surprise, Lance Lenoir is at wide receiver. Drez Anderson also made the list at wide receiver over a guy like Kel McKay. A little bit surprised with him, but he was really good later on in the preseason. Jake Campos is one of 2 offensive linemen. He joins Cody Wichman, who has bounced around a little bit. Campos was an undrafted free agent this year, and then Wichman from kind of an older draft class comes in as that 6th player. We'll take it now to our next slide here with some defensive guys. You'll notice the lack of Charles Tapper. Charles Tapper had signed with the Cowboys practice squad, but they actually cut him today, and that was a big surprise to me. We'll get some more on that here in a second. In his place is Aziz Shitu, elite name, by the way, maybe not quite an elite football player. Kyle Cairo makes it as an undrafted rookie, think of him as a mini Joe Thomas type player. Donovan Olumba is your extra cornerback, and then Tristan DeCowd comes in. He is your extra safety just in case the Cowboys need more depth as the year goes on. But again, no Charles Tapper, so are you surprised the Cowboys cut Tapper from both the active roster and the practice squad? Because guess what? I actually am. I did not think the Cowboys were going to cut Tapper. I would have kept him on there. I'm a little bit surprised by it, but hopefully the Cowboys front office coaching staff knows what they're doing, because I still liked him a little bit, even though there were constant injury problems for Mr. Tapper. Folks, if you like what I'm wearing, well, you can get your own Mizzen and Main shirt at comfortable.af. It is the most comfortable dress shirt you will ever own. The URL checks out, comfortable.af. Go get one today. It is truly the most comfortable thing you will ever own. And then as you saw at the very top of the show, yeah, Dan Bailey got cut. The Cowboys, in reality, stunned everyone. I don't think Dan Bailey expected it. I don't even think Brett Maher expected it. And I know none of the Cowboys media guys expected it. And neither did even the national media guys. This was a big stunner for the Cowboys to cut Dan Bailey. As to why they cut him, money and leg strength were a factor in the decision, and that was confirmed by Jason Garrett. For starters, look, the Cowboys saved $3.4 million by cutting Dan Bailey, minus whatever the minimum that they have to pay Brett Maher. Now, I saw a surprising amount of misinformation out on social media. No, Dan Bailey's not hurt, at least not with his groin. Now, maybe there are some concerns about his mental makeup right now, but Dan Bailey played in the preseason. I was told multiple times on social media that Dan Bailey didn't even play in the preseason, which he did. He absolutely played. So the health is not the main issue. The reality is that, yes, his numbers had dropped for 3 straight years, and that was a bit of a concern for the Cowboys. Probably shouldn't have played through his injury last year, but in the end, here's the main takeaway with a bunch of different things all kind of put together in one. The Cowboys think that Brett Maher can produce as well, if not as well, just behind Dan Bailey's at a fraction of the cost. And in the end, the Cowboys have better made the right call, or it's Jason Garrett that's going to pay the ultimate price there. So let me know if you think the Cowboys made a mistake. Type Y for yes, N for no, or if you just want to move on, at least for now, until Brett Maher misses a field goal to win the game, because then the cries are going to come out of the woodwork there. All right, folks, once again, I am Tom Downey. You can follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. We'll take you now to our Cowboys rumors. First up, is Randy Gregory going to play in Week 4? I'm giving this one 4 stars. I think the reports of trouble are unfounded from Jean-Jacques Taylor and from Jason Block and 4. I am sorry for getting a little bit too excited about them. Should have kept it at 1 star. It was never gone to the 2 there. But I fully think that you're going to see Randy Gregory play Week 1 against, by the way, a very, very banged-up Panthers offensive line. Both tackles are out with injuries. Matt Khalil, Darrell Williams are not supposed to play. They already lost 1 guard, plus a guard in free agency. This could be a big week for Gregory and the entire Cowboys defensive line. So let me know, how many sacks will Gregory have this year? Again, I had put the original number at over 4.5. I'm taking the over right now. He looks good. I'm excited. And as of right now, there are no credible reports that anything bad is coming for Gregory. I think he's going to be good to go for the season. Someone who's in a little bit more of a question mark circumstance right now is Travis Frederick back within 8 weeks. That's kind of the assumption by when the Cowboys have not put Frederick on IR. Now, what this means is that he doesn't have to wait 8 weeks, but I'm only going to give it the 2 stars. I think trying to speculate how long we're going to do without Frederick is a little bit unfair, given that it's a Guillain-Barré is a disease that affects everyone differently. It takes longer for some to get back. So the Cowboys have the flexibility to bring him back before that 8-week time frame. Ideally, of course, he is back and he's good to go. I will play it on the cautious side that, yeah, maybe he comes back this year, but let's not assume he gets back in Week 4, Week 5, whatever. Let's play it safe. And I know you guys hate this phrase, but there is no timetable for Travis Frederick's return, so we'll stick there on 2 stars. All right, folks, I am doing my own FanDuel game this week. Here's how you can enter. First off, of course, go to FanDuel.com/chatsports. Get $20 free when you sign up with your first deposit. Then DM me on Twitter, or if you're watching on Facebook, DM it to the Facebook page here. I'm on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. New users only will get you in for a free game, and then I'll personally give the winner $50, of course. That's if I don't win. So FanDuel.com/chatsports. DM me if you want in, and we'll give $50 away to the winner if it's a full game. All right, next up here, another one that I see every day on social media and in my mentions and all that kind of stuff. Earl Thomas trade. Could it happen? I'm going to bump it back down to 1 star because at this point, I don't know if we're actually going to see it because, well, doesn't seem all that likely with the start of the season a few days away. The latest reports are that there is still no traction on an ET trade. And again, as I've said many times, it is not up to Dallas to pick up the phone and call Seattle. The Seahawks know what the Cowboys will offer, and it's a reasonable offer. It's not going to be a first-round pick, by the way. But as of right now, Seattle's the one that says, we're just going to roll with what we got right now. We're not going to trade Earl Thomas. He can hold out. We'll figure it out later. So that's the unfortunate reality right there. There's nothing coming down the pipeline as of right now for a potential Earl Thomas trade. But, hey, things could trade between now and the October NFL trade deadline. Next up on our rumors roundup are Deontay Thompson and Tavon Austin going to be the return men. That seems to be the case right now. That was the report from one Clarence Hill, along with actually Jean-Jacques Taylor. So we'll start off with Tavon Austin. Now, he should be the punt return man. Or the punt return man, excuse me, yes. He is going to be the front runner there for the Cowboys. That's going to be his main role overall. And it's a role that Austin has played many times in the past because, frankly, he has that athleticism and that game-breaking ability to handle it. The one big red flag for Austin is that, the return yardage is it's good enough, but the fumbles, that's been a problem for Tavon Austin. But Austin brings you much more game-breaking than, say, I think a Ryan Switzer brought to you last year. As for kick returns, well, that's where Deontay Thompson should step in. That's a role he's done in the past. And think about it this way. The Cowboys seem to have finally figured out, hey, our 2 fastest guys on offense are probably Tavon Austin and Deontay Thompson. Let's let them handle the returns and see how that works out because, frankly, was pretty underwhelmed in the NFL preseason. Has to do better with Thompson and Austin. All right, on to defensive line now. Could REID make a return for the Cowboys? I'll keep this one at 2 stars, but it might actually be closer to 1 star right now. The Cowboys' initial plan was to put Dayton Jones on IR and then sign back Brian Price, who they cut. The problem was, after the Cowboys announced that plan, the Raiders claimed Brian Price, or at least they'd already submitted the claim before that had come out. So the Cowboys failed to pull that off. Now, there were some reports that maybe they bring back REID, who did show some flashes but wasn't in camp long enough to really make that steady impact there. Instead, the Cowboys' current plan is just to keep Dayton Jones on the roster. Hopefully he comes back soon. So in reality, this is your defensive line right now for the Cowboys. You go 9 deep, and we'll call it 8 right now because Dayton Jones is not going to be able to go in week 1. So a little bit thin up front, even thinner by the release of Charles Tapper from the practice squad. So we'll see if that's a little bit too thin for your Dallas Cowboys. All right, one last rumor. Paxton Lynch. Did the Cowboys not want him or even a backup in general? That's kind of where we're at right now for the Cowboys. So Denver called Dallas about trading for Paxton Lynch. And the Cowboys were like, he's got a lot of guaranteed money, hard pass. And then the Broncos cut Paxton Lynch. And they're like, we like Cooper Rush and Mike White. So despite almost trading up for Paxton Lynch all those years ago, Cowboys didn't want him or Connor Cook this time around, and instead, this is going to be your Cowboys quarterback depth chart, at least for week 1. Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, and then Mike White. They are not interested, at least as of right now, and things could change if Dak goes down, in adding a new backup. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about the backup quarterback spot? I think in reality, it's probably like a 4 or 5 for me, but then if Dak goes down, it becomes a 10, So I'm not going to overly panic right now, but if Dak goes down, season's over. It's not going anywhere for the Cowboys. So maybe that actually makes the scale a little bit higher, at least for me. All right, folks, I am Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. Time for my Cowboys mailbag. Sorry for not getting to it earlier in the week. First up here, could we see Frederick by week 3? Is that within the realm of possibility? And I know you hate the buzzwords, foreseeable future and indefinitely, so I'll do a different one and we'll make it timetable because I don't know when Frederick is going to come back. I don't think the Cowboys rush. In fact, I know they won't hurry him back. Yeah, he's been working out a little bit, but I think he is at least still a month away. So I don't think you'll see Frederick back by week 3. Frankly, I'd be stunned, happily stunned, but I think that's a little bit too ambitious of a timeline right now for Frederick. All right, from Michael Ramos, a good question, one I think of a long time about. Who will be the first practice squad player brought to the 53-man roster? Well, again, if you missed it here, folks, here are the 10 guys in the Cowboys roster. Jordan Chun, Bo Scarbrough, Lance Lenoir, Drez Anderson, Jake Campos, Cody Wichman, Aziz Shitu, Kyle Cairo, Donovan Olumba, and Tristan Ducout. I'll give you a defensive guy. How about Olumba in case if a corner goes down, they got to bring up somebody. I would guess it'd be Olumba. On offense, the Cowboys like Lance Lenoir a lot, so I'll go with him. But I don't have a great answer for you because a lot of these guys I'm not that familiar with yet. But I'll go with the two I do know, Donovan Olumba and Lance Lenoir on both sides of the ball. All right, Yogi Brew wants to know, have you seen our new kicker? He's good, but what was the reason they got rid of Dan Bailey? What was the deciding factor? Well, we'll start off with Brett Maher, of course, who is the new kicker here for the Dallas Cowboys. Strong leg, which I like. That gives you some extra room to attempt longer field goals naturally. Big red flag for me. 78% on field goals in the CFL. Now, he was better the past 2 years, about 82% each, but it's not really what I have in mind there. The Cowboys, in the end, they have got to have made the right call on this one. As for Dan Bailey, as I mentioned earlier, the Cowboys think in the end they can get similar, if not just a little bit worse production from Brett Maher, even potentially better, that they would have gotten from Dan Bailey at a fraction of the cost. So it was a money and in the end a production type of play. So we'll see if the Cowboys are right, because if they're wrong, oh boy, we're all going to be mad at Dallas and Jason Garrett. All right, Tyler asks, is Jonathan Hankins an option? Well, not the first time we've heard about Hankins on this show, and again, it hasn't really changed. I don't think it's going to go down for the Cowboys. All right, yeah, they need more defensive tackle depth, and Hankins is a solid player, but the Cowboys have shown no interest in him so far. Now, you can disagree, like I do, on this, but it doesn't seem like the Cowboys want to actually bring in Hankins. So in the end, I don't think you're going to see the Cowboys go after Hankins, and I guess they'll roll with what they got unless they want to bring somebody else up off the streets or off the practice squad. Folks, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel, and I am doing a special game just for you guys out there. Head to FanDuel.com/chatsports, sign up, you get $20 free with your first deposit, and then DM me for an exclusive new users-only game. It's a free game, but I'll give the winner $50 if you take down me, if you take down everybody else in that game. Has to be a full game, so tell your friends, get them in on it. The winner gets $50 on FanDuel. But again, FanDuel.com/chatsports, and then DM me if you want in, and we'll get you set up for a free game with the winner getting $50. All right, on now to Andrew's question. What put Daniel Ross over Jihad Ward? I think in the end, or Andrew, it was the difference between kind of, practice and training camp versus putting the pads on. I think that Daniel Ross looked better once the pads got on than Jihad Ward, who was almost kind of a preseason workout guy. And in the end, I think that's what got Ross on the roster. Jihad Ward, by the way, is now on the Colts practice squad. All right, Sloan. I noticed that we got 4 cornerbacks. If one went down, what will be the next option? Either call up Donovan Olumba or find somebody off the streets. Do the old Will McClay special, because there's not much depth. Frankly, I was surprised Dallas went with 4 cornerbacks and 5 5 safeties. It's a little bit thin, at least in my eyes. So it's the answer for if someone goes down, they probably have to go sign somebody, because I don't know if they want Olumba instantly as their number 4. I think they want him more as a developmental type player. All right, next up, Austin Lavelle. Do you think the Seahawks trade for Shalom Luani was to add depth in case they trade away Earl Thomas? I don't really know if that's the case there for the Seahawks. They did need more depth there, but in reality, there is still not enough going on in the Earl Thomas trade talks. See, the Seahawks are not willing to move him right now. The Cowboys correctly won't overpay for Earl Thomas. So that's kind of where we sit for the Cowboys and the Seahawks. Johnny says that we will have Earl Thomas on opening day. I kind of don't think so. We're a couple of days away now, and that trade has not gone down, so I wouldn't bank on it quite yet for the Dallas Cowboys. Some more players that could be added. Brock Brown / the OD says, what about Brice Butler? We're back to the Brice Butler stuff, First off, Brice Butler couldn't make the Cardinals wide receiver core. I know that he flashed some last year and made some big plays. His hands were not very consistent. He actually dropped a higher percentage passes than Des Bryant did. He burned some bridges at the end of last year. And frankly, guys, I know you like Brice Butler. He's just not that good. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think I'd rather have Lance Lenoir than Brice Butler. I don't think Butler's a very good player, plain and simple. So you guys can feel free to disagree, type A in the comment section, but I am not interested in bringing back Brice Butler for this Cowboys roster. Jake has another receiver in mind. He says to go pick up Corey Coleman, and then, as he says, put Noah Brown on IR. So, before camp in the preseason, I would have said, yes, go do it. But the reality is for Corey Coleman, former first-round pick, yes, got cut by the Bills and traded away for basically nothing by the Cleveland Browns. Like, I am interested by his talent because I think it's still kind of there. But there's a real chance that Corey Coleman just isn't a good football player. Because if you can't make the Bills and the Browns, and especially the Bills who have the worst receiving core in the entire NFL, how are you going to help out the Dallas Cowboys? So I'm intrigued, but I think I would lean towards passing because I don't know if Coleman's actually good at football anymore. Folks, if you like what I'm wearing, you can get your own at Mizzen and Main. Go to comfortable.af to get your own incredibly comfortable dress shirt. Trust me, it is the most comfortable thing you will ever own. The sweat wicking technology makes a big difference as well. Comfortable.af is the website, folks. And then one last mailbag question here. Adol Gonzalez says, why didn't they bring back Cooper? He's a better option they have at backup offensive lineman. As we discussed on Twitter, Mr. Gonzalez, Cooper was not subject to waivers. Now, the Cowboys could still bring him in, and I would kind of like that because I know that there's an injury red flag there, and he probably wants more playing time, but I kind of like Jonathan Cooper. I think at the very least, he'd be a great backup guard just in case something went down. Like if Joe Looney, God forbid, got hurt, you'd probably put Zach Martin at center. I'd rather slot in Jonathan Cooper at right guard than maybe a Parker Enger, at least as of right now, but we'll see what happens on that end. All right, folks, once again, I am Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney, and we will see you on Thursday for our next Cowboys Report.